Hello, beautiful souls. I'm going to start the recording so that those that aren't here live can have a little taste of Costa Rica with us. As I migrate away from the router, I don't know if it's going to show us, but I won't dare go. There's a balcony.
Beautiful, beautiful.
There's a balcony up there too, up above us too, but I won't dare try to go up there. I think that's going to be too far from the router. So I'll be migrating from here tomorrow to one of the beautiful properties that we have, and I'm excited to talk with all you guys, and let's get some clarity going today. The name of the game, the word for the day is clarity. Word for the day every day. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in live. I have Monica here with me. That is, I don't know if you want to be on camera, so I won't put her on camera. But she's going through the questions that some of you guys sent in and all that good stuff. So we'll make this really efficient. So that's what we'll start with. I asked people to send in questions yesterday, and let's do this. If don't use this Telegram for. I just may have ask the questions in a second. But we're going to go into the questions in our question box. What's the best way? You want to say it out loud, or you want to send it to our Telegram chat? What's easier for you? 1 second, guys.
Everyone, please make sure all of you are muted to make sure that it doesn't move the camera from Noel back to you. Thank you.
Okay, let's begin. And I want to keep this Zoom. Ideally, this is going to be an hour or less. So we're going to be super efficient. So I have one question here, just join questions. So I asked, any of the people that have been with us for a while that these questions are more like universal questions, like questions that we would want everyone to know for their groups. I've asked some of the leaders that could tune in to chime in on the answers for those. And then the answers that I'm going to chime in on is stuff that only I would know as far as where we're headed, where we're going right now. So that's kind of going to be the flow of this Q&A Zoom. I'm not going to answer all of the things because I want all of you guys. I look at every single one of us as leaders, first of ourselves, most importantly, and then second, and as important as we're bringing people into UA, how can we be great stewards for the people that we are bringing in, so that the questions that they may have, we probably had at some point at the beginning. So we find the answers for ourselves, and then not that you're going to sit them down and do a whole training, for an hour with them. That's not necessary when we have technology. There might be a little bit of that, but really just to be able to guide people to where the answers are. We have a lot of beautiful resources. Deanna, who's on here with us, has been creating awesome graphics, and so there's always going to be evolution when it comes to resources and tools. But we can't utilize any of the resources and tools if we don't know that they exist and we don't know how to, access them for ourselves. So that's going to be the main intention, for this. And so let's go. It might have been wishful thinking trying to get these questions on here, but I'm gonna do this on here. So, okay, question number one. I just opened it up, and so this person just joined Universal Abundance, and they're saying that PayPal isn't really working for them. So they signed up with their. Okay, so the question is, can they use like a bank draft instead of PayPal to be paid? I'm just gonna answer that really quick. The options right now to get paid out are in PayPal or cryptocurrency, unless you're in a part of the world that you just like, because there's some countries that you can't use PayPal. And there's some countries that, everybody can use cryptocurrency, but some countries make it difficult to access the funds from your cryptocurrency wallet to your bank account. So in those specific cases, we have made some exceptions to help get them paid. But here's my advice to all of us, and this is going to be important as we move forward and everything continues to evolve. If you ever have someone that's having a challenge with using any type of whatever it is to get started, or all that stuff, you've already done it successfully, most likely. And so if you can facilitate that for them, and as long as, for instance, someone asked me about, I think it was Kelly Dooley, I think asked me about someone, I could be wrong on the person, someone that wanted to get started in Fiji, but they were having a hard time, with cryptocurrency and PayPal and all that stuff. And so, it wasn't Kelly, but it was someone that asked me about this. And so what I said is, if there's a way for you and this beautiful soul in Fiji to communicate, and they can send money to you, you can send money to them, you can facilitate, you run an online business. Like, you're an independent business owner with Universal Abundance. So you can facilitate these type of transactions, and then you could go ahead and water for them or do whatever needs to be done. And then as they kind of get their feet wet and they figure out some more things, then they could switch it over to them. So you might be thinking like, well, that sounds like a lot of extra work. Well, that is a microcosm of what we do for everybody. So you could do it with 1 or 2 or 3 people if you want them in Universal Abundance. If you want to help them participate, maybe they're having a challenge, but they can, you can meet them once a year in Fiji and, exchange funds. I don't know. But where there's a will, there's a way. So everybody is definitely invited to participate with people in whatever way that they can to help facilitate some of these transactions that take place. We can help everybody. So yeah, for that person that asked that question, your sponsor and their sponsor, they've either set up PayPal successfully or know someone who has. So you're just going to want to get with them to help you with that, or cryptocurrency. That's really the main answer for most things, is your sponsor or their sponsor probably has done that successfully. So get with them and let them, kind of facilitate. That's why they get paid the 50% and the 25%, so that they can help you. So, okay, that's that question. Kind of want to open it up for you since you guys are live with me. Yeah, Janice, I kind of want to just interact with you guys because for me, it's not really going to be in flow to go through it. I will look through the questions, and Monica's helping organize those for me. But Janice, go ahead and unmute yourself. I see you in front of me. So.
Hi, so good to be here. I know that person that you just read her question, that is somebody I invited, and she just come in. She historically cannot use PayPal. They have blocked her. So that's her, she just didn't give you that information. It's crazy. So I'm willing to be the in-between for her. How would that affect, I think I'm answering my question right now. I'm thinking, how would that affect my tax status as far as income? I actually want to have it look like my income is low. That's my little secret here. That's not a secret anymore. But yeah, how would that affect me?
I hope that's all of our secrets. We want to keep it.
No.
So yeah, so that's, we could easily pay to your PayPal, and it always will specify that the funds are designated for her. So you'll be able to see that, and because we always describe in the transaction what the payment is for. So if we were doing that in your case, we'd be a little bit more specific on the description, because sometimes it will say, for instance, especially for membership, on scholarship bonuses, it's always specific to you. It'll say, Janice, UA20 scholarship bonus. So obviously that's for you. For hers, it would say her name, UA20 or whatever it is, scholarship bonus. For the memberships, most of the time, the description says the person's membership that it was for. So in this case, just to avoid confusion, we could say, this person's name being paid for this person's membership, just a little bit more specific, which would be easy to do. So,
Right.
yeah. And then eventually they may move to cryptocurrency or something, but if they want to use PayPal and you're willing to help, then awesome.
Okay, thanks so much.
You're welcome. All right. Anybody, we'll go next to anybody that's on camera that I can see. If you wave at me and you have a question, we'll go to you. Amrita, hello. Go for it. Tell us where where you are too. I wanted to ask you, Janice, as well. Janice, unmute. Tell us where you are on the planet, so we all know where you are.
I'm in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Awesome. You guys put in the chat where you are on Earth, so we can see that. And then Amrita, where are you on? Where are you on Earth?
Okay. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. And who's next to you?
She's Nimrita, and I'm her husband Kish.
Nimrita and Kish. Pleasant.
Yes.
Guys. Where are you guys?
Deanna knows us very well. She's tired of us.
No chance. Tired of you guys.
And we're from South Africa.
Awesome. Welcome.
Great. It's really nice to finally interact with you. We've seen you a lot on all the Instagram posts and on the UA, on all the calls and the chats and the Zoom links and all the recordings. And we listen to you a lot. And it's finally great to be able to interact with you one-on-one, which is really good. Thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate you guys.
Okay. We're actually relatively new to the UA. We've been on this for about a month, maybe a little bit over a month. And we are signed up under Deanna. So obviously being so new, we actually bombard her with a lot of questions. She actually does comply. She's very patient with us, and she does give as much information as she can. But since we are here, I actually sent an email. But since you are allowing us to chat with you directly, let's do this. Let me get here. Okay. So basically, like you say, it's really. Just give me a second.
Should I take it?
No, it's fine. It always calls like this. In your Telegram messages, or the message yesterday, as leaders for ourselves, for other people, we have to have our facts clear, to be able to offer that valuable information and to be resourceful with our the people we want to bring in onto this beautiful portal. So we'd like you to point us in the right direction. Okay. So one of the questions that I have is based on all the new changes that we heard on that recording of the Zoom, where all the automation is coming into effect. I know there's no fixed time or date or anything for the automation, but everything is in process. But I would just like a little bit more of insight as to how then the cycling, when we signed up, we were explained that the cycles go more or less 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes 10 weeks, and the lists are about 170 to 180 people on a list. But ever since we've signed up, I see that the periods probably will go longer, and there are more people on the list than that. There's like 400 or 500 people. Okay, if you count that the lists are got a spacing in between, so about 200 to 250 people on the list. Will all that change once the automation comes in? And when the automation does come in, will, say for example, just as for an example's sake, she's on a position number 170. Will it keep the number at that position once the automation comes in, or does it like start from zero again, or does it already go to the end? How will that sort of like come in? That's one question.
Awesome. Let me answer that one. So I know a lot of people have this question, and this is where it's going to be very exciting for all of us, because the speed at which we're seeing the list move at now, this is not the speed that you're going to see it move at when we head into automation. And here's the main reason why. Everything is instant. So every transaction that comes in, the money is going to immediately go where it's supposed to go. So if you're in the payout slot, for instance, and you're receiving a 75% payout, let's just use the big numbers just because they're fun. Say you're receiving a $7,500 payout. Each transaction that comes in that normally puts a name in parentheses, it's actually going to pay you $2,500. So it's going to be immediate. So imagine a transaction coming in and paying you $2,500. In your mind, you're probably thinking, I want to water with one of these. So you're watering right away. Versus in the past, not only were we needing to wait for all the transactions, that payout isn't going to happen. I mean, there's nobody that's getting paid out the same day. But it's really been, a week or two for payouts when before it used to be close to, I mean, as things have gone faster and more momentum has picked up, the time period as far as people moving through the list, but also the payouts has increased in time. So when people get paid out, at least half of those people are watering something. Like, so for instance, I saw Janine and Monica. Janine was in Tulum, Mexico with us last week. And I saw them pay out 127 people in a couple of hours that's working together. And these were membership commissions that, you know, people had signed people up for the membership. And so out of those 127 people, I guarantee that, especially if those people have received their payments several weeks ago, which is when a lot of them came through, at least half of those would water. So that's additional 60 transactions, you know, which is going to be 60 transactions, puts 20 more people through the list, which pays 20 more people immediately, which causes more transactions, which puts more watering. So you have the momentum to where that's how the momentum that you guys see now really got going, was just the immediacy of it. But as more and more transactions came in, you need computers to be able, you need robots to be able to do all of the stuff that we do. So that's going to be the first thing. The second thing is we've never removed a name from the list that you guys see. So the size of the list right now has never been the intention for people to just continue to go around all of those names. So before moving into full automation, we're getting the opportunity to see, okay, how many times are you on the list, first of all? And then how many times have you hit the payout slot, whether it was a 25%, a 50%, 75%, or a membership upgrade? That's how many times you hit the payout slot. And so just dividing that number of how many times you're on the list by 2, as far as each one of those names can go around twice. So to move into full automation, the names that have gone around twice, or every multiple of 2, is going to take a name off the list. We've already received significant profit at that point. And so there's a lot of names that you see on the list right now that won't be there. I won't go as far to say half will come off, but there'd be a significant percentage of names on there that will not be there when we go to full automation. And they've already received very nice profits for being there. A lot of the people that have been with us several months. And so that also is going to encourage more watering, which I will say for everyone, what we can do prior to going into full automation, we kind of had to pause this going into the retreat, but we were doing it a lot last week. Monica and I, and Janine was helping with it as well. But we're going to pick steam back up on it significantly once the retreat is done. But we're basically going through, especially those of you guys that have been around longer, and taking notes on, again, how many times you're on each list, how many times you've hit that payout slot, and you guys have started to see bold and italics show up on the list. Not for most of you yet, but for the people, we're going through people that have been around longer, because they've been in the payout slot a lot more times. So we're doing all that stuff right now. But before we go into full automation, we have to do that for everyone anyways. So you'll start seeing some names show up in italics. And when you see names in italics on the spreadsheet, that just means that those names aren't going to hit the payout slot. That would be the equivalent of just like removing them from the list. But we didn't want you to wake up one day and say, wait, I had 6 names yesterday and 4 names today. You'll see 2 of those in italics, which means the same thing, but you'll understand why based off of this explanation. So those 2 things really are going to speed up the list. And there's not really a reason to, even now, there's not really a reason to have 8 different lists on UA20 or 8 different on UA100. The main reason that we had that is because we flirted with the prospects of allowing people to choose which lists they want to put their people on. But what that caused is a real unbalance of one list was moving quickly, the rest of them not so much, and then a few weren't moving at all. And I'm looking at all the people on that list, and we want them to have abundance flow to them as well. So the way I look at it is I want everybody to benefit from everything that's happening, all the momentum. So when we get into automation, you'll see how many slots you're away from the payout slot. And you'll also see on average how long it's taken the person, not even on average, you'll see how long it took the last person to go through to hit the payout slot. So when they signed up, you'll be able to compare that to, and that number will change as far as the speed at which it's happening based off of the transactions that are happening, the watering and the new signups. So the list is going to move a lot faster regardless of how many people are participating, because you're going to see a lot more watering being done because people are going to have money in their hands to do it. So.
Okay, no, that's actually great. Thank you for that. My question came up because of that, because just looking at our names, for example, they've been on a UA 100 list for about almost 6 weeks now. And we realized that they're moving at a rate of about 20 slots per week. So I did a rough calculation, and it's more like than 12 or 14 weeks, more than the 6 to 8 weeks. So I gather it's because of what you just said. There's a lot of people that are not watering, or a lot of people are just stagnant there, or bringing on a lot of people onto one specific list or group. Hence, the lists are growing bigger and bigger and taking longer time to reach the payout point.
Just to
So
give you
that's
guys an
great.
idea, we paid out yesterday people from the Golden Fours that went through on July 12th. So that's like we got up to July 13th yesterday.
Okay.
So there's a few exceptions where if we see someone, especially if they hit Golden Four multiple weeks, or say they had a lot of names coming through on UA 20 or UA 100, and we saw they had, a name on the 10th, a name come through on the 14th, a name come through on the 18th. We saw those names, then we branch some payouts together so that we can pay them all. But if it's like a single name, we're kind of just going on the, in the order that they came through.
Okay.
The goal is to get caught up before the retreat starts, but we'll see. We'll get close.
That's fine. That's great, because, like, for example, she's already on a Golden Four. We noticed it yesterday, because she got her Golden Four. I think the fourth person came in on Tuesday or Wednesday, so we saw her name on the list. So we're calculating about a week or so before she gets any payout from that. So that'll be this week. Will be
that up to Golden Four just as an extra incentive, as far as like we're going to get all the Golden Fours will be caught up today.
Okay.
And then the intention is to make that the priority, as far as, because it doesn't take that much time, but instead of going in the order like what I just mentioned yesterday, and this popped into my brain yesterday. Instead of paying out the 12th Golden Fours yesterday on the 24th, we could have made that priority and paid them out on the 13th. Or just to give extra incentive to do it. So up until automation, we're going to start paying out the Golden Four. Just like we make it priority for them to be in the payout slot, we're going to make it priority for them to get their payout, just as an additional reward.
Okay. No, that's good. One of the reasons that there are, and obviously you mentioned it in one of your Zoom sessions, one of the calls I was listening to, where there are unfortunately a lot of people out there that want to be a part of something that would bring abundance to their lives, but obviously they are a bit incredulous with the whole thing. They can't believe how these things work, and they're not willing to take the plunge or just believe and in true faith just jump in without seeing some sort of proof. And living in South Africa, as you've already mentioned, we're going through a little bit of a crisis here with all the riots and the protests and everything that have been going on for the past couple of weeks, and with the COVID and everything as well. So there are people that are very reticent to just jump in and take a chance and a plunge, even though their options are $5, but still it's money for them. So once we get a payout, there are like about 7 or 8 people which are lined up that want to do it, but they just want that proof, so to speak, to say, okay, fine, I see what you're telling us is real, and let's do this. On the other hand, there are people that have signed up with us. They've trusted us faithfully, and they trust in the whole universe and abundance because they're on the same page and they're like-minded people. So we trust that we get those kind of people also to sign up. So that's great.
I shared this with those in the leadership group that I have. But if anybody, I'll put this out to everybody. If anybody has people that that are in that situation, they haven't received their first payout yet, and that social proof would be useful. And that they've gone through, not the email was like, hey, I haven't got paid yet. Like, can you pay?
Yeah.
Actually gone through, or gotten Golden Four. If you message us at support and put that in the subject, like first payout, we'll pay you. Like, we'll get that. We'll make that priority, because we're just moving through I told that to the leaders, because a few of them have taken advantage of that and said, hey, I just had someone go through on the UA 1000. This is their first time through. So to receive that $250 scholarship bonus was very helpful for what you just described, to be able to show people. So we're happy to.
That's brilliant.
Great. Yeah, that's brilliant. We are trying to water as well. Actually, we took a decision today. I want to water a UA20 like for August 31 times. That's the 31 days. I want to put it in that amount, so it's like one per day, and just see how that goes. And then once that starts to roll, then it'll be like a payout almost every day coming in the future. Now, you explained with the new changes that the name just cycles twice. Can you just go over that a little bit, if you don't mind?
Yeah, basically so there's a little bit of an interesting timing caveat when it comes to this. So the automation is designed to, the only time a name will be removed from the list is if it comes through for a second time. So it's the payout slot for the second time. And it is either because we have basically 3 pieces to each cycle. So you have the first piece when you first come down, and it's going to ask the question of how many times are you on this list or on that level, the UA20 list or the UA100 list. If it's only once, then it's going to pay you 25% and then put another name on there for you. That stays the same. If it's 2 or more times, it's going to pay you 50%. So that's the first, phase of the cycle. The second phase would be paying your sponsor and their sponsor, so you upgrading your membership. And then the third phase of the cycle would be as long as you have time, because that second phase of the cycle gives you your membership date for that month. So now you have 30 days from there, and as many times, which is why what you just described as far as watering every day will be nice, because we've had some people do that are coming around, and I'm actually really curious. Like we had someone, I'll just shout him out because I see him always posting positive stuff. Mike Floyd, who's in the group, watered, I think, every day in June on the UA 100 list. And his names have to be, I haven't looked on the spreadsheet, but his names have to be coming around, and he'll get a $75 payout probably every day for many days in a row, or multiple. So that'll be cool for him. But my point was on the third phase of the cycle where, those are 75% coming through, if that's your second time through as far as that particular name, then that also will come off the list. Now, in the chance that your name hits the first cycle again, and that is, that's your last name, for instance, you haven't been watering and that's the last name that you have, and it hits that first phase of the cycle, it's going to treat it as if it's your first time down the list again. So it'll pay you 25% and put another name on the list for you. So it kind of like saves you if you're a non-waterer out there, that's how the technology is built. But if that comes down, that's your last name on the list, and it lands on the second phase of the cycle or the third phase, then it will do what it's supposed to do, and then it'll move you off the list. So that's 2 times around, in the exception that it lands again on the first phase of the cycle. So you have a 33% chance that you'll survive another go round. You won't have to ever think about that if we're all watering. I would say.
Yeah, no, that's the point. It's like you say, clarity. When we first started to explain, because we already have done a couple of our own Zoom presentations to the people that we've signed up. So obviously, for us to give them the right information, we need to know what's going on and how it works now. So with all the changes, we also need clarity. And Deanna knows me. She knows I'm a data collector. I need to know my facts, because ultimately it's all this that's putting the line and getting people to trust all this and say, listen, trust in me. This is what it's going to be. Abundance is coming to you through us and through this whole community. And we want to give the factual information, not that a person gets on and says, but Kish, you told me this, and now it's not even that, it's something else. And we don't want that. At least I don't want that. And a lot of people we're getting on are also local that know us locally. So you don't want to go to a supermarket, meet up with them, and have to hide behind the chips or the frozen food section. Say, listen, I don't want to see that guy. He's going to catch me. He's going to scream at me. So it's basically, that's the reason why. But now it's clear. So that means the ideal thing now is, instead of the name constantly cycling perpetually, the ideal thing is just to go on watering, and your name just keeps going through as long as you're watering, which helps the lists and everybody else that comes on. That's the ultimate goal from now onwards. Okay.
And one other thing that'll speed the list up, just one little thing to throw in there. When your name comes off the list, there's still a 25% that goes to the next person who's waiting to be paid out. So that extra 25% goes to the next person. So actually,
Okay.
instead of needing, your name coming up and needing 3 more transactions, there's still 3 more transactions. It's actually that, with the speed of that will come when that name isn't coming back down again. But it's the same, like that 25% still goes up, and that's the first payout to the next person. So it still kind of keeps the flow going, because even though it takes 4 pieces to pay out the person in the payout slot, it really actually only takes 3, because that person always goes back up to the top, or
Yes.
their 25% goes back up to the top. So it just needs 3 more.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I don't want to hog the rest of the session. Thank you so much. If there are any other questions, I will contact Deanna or send an email to support. But thank you so much. Really appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being online. Okay, so
Noel, do you mind if I say something real fast?
please.
Just because Kish was talking about hiding behind the chips, I just want to share with everyone, including him, that Noel talks to the universe daily, right? Possibly each hour. He's constantly trying to figure out how to make universal abundance this as extraordinary as we know that it is already, but there's always another level, right? So when you're talking to your people, you are telling them what you know at that time, in small bites too, because you cannot tell them all. We do not want people's brains to explode, right? So that's what you communicate to them as well too, that I'm telling you the basics right now, and this could change. There's still more things about this amazing adventure that I'm wanting you to come with me, that it could grow. It's definitely going to grow. So just be forthright with that. And then, Kish, you won't have to hide behind the tips. You won't have to feel like that you're not telling someone the truth, or that you have prevented or diminished your credibility with that person. So just let them know up front that this beautiful thing that I want you to get in with me moves like water, because we are water, because that's what we have to do and be on this planet to change it the way that we're trying to change it. We cannot stay stagnant. We have to be constantly moving and evolving, so I just wanted to say that too.
I appreciate you, Deanna. It's fun. It's fun just being open to what's next, because this is a good opportunity to insert this. Is all that UA is, and you guys have heard me share this before, but we just looked at the macro as far as, okay, this is the planet we all live on. This is the planet that we share. And in humanity, we want to see certain things evolve, all of us. So we want to see people that are going without food and water and shelter. We all want to see that evolve. We want to see kids that are being mistreated. We want to see them treated better. We want to see animals that are being mistreated treated better. The environment, we want to see it treated better. There's things in the macro that we all want to see evolve. And so my questions always are, how can we evolve these things? And then we just reverse engineer it and just know that we are where we are. And all that any of us can do is what we can with what we have from where we are. And if we can do that with a peace, knowing that the rest of the details, the steps needed to get to the macro that we just described will be revealed in divine timing. It's not up to us how it happens, when it happens, who's involved. When we can live life that way, then we can manifest anything. That's the whole process of manifestation, is being able to release all the details of it. So all that I do is always keep and it's so much fun, because I meditate every day, and then I visualize, and I have affirmations that are describing everything that I just mentioned, and other things that are important on more of a personal level and family level. So we all have that, the personal things, the family things, the local community, and the all of humanity things. And so we're just doing what we can do. The key for all of us is, how many moments of right now and right now and right now can we have in peace, not needing any of these things to change right now in order to be at peace. That's the whole challenge as a human, because all of the things that we desire, when we look around us right now, we don't have them. Because if we had them, we wouldn't desire them. So it takes a first life experience of realizing, oh, there's something that I don't have, whether it be health, relationship, financial goal. I want this thing, I desire this thing, but I don't need this thing to happen right this second for me to be at peace. I know it's happening, I know it's coming, I know it's evolving, and I don't have to know when or how. That's the whole work, quote unquote, as a human. So it's fun with UA, because things are constantly being shown to me that will lead us into the next step in the direction of where we're going as a whole. But right now we're in the phase of everybody taking care of their personal freedoms, taking care of their family. Like that's the fun phase that all of us are in. So it's been awesome to meet all of you guys that are here in this phase, because as we scale and, everybody will be, my intention for like scaling just always going to be when we have you guys that are with us, especially in the highest level that we're in now, when you have the 7,500s that are hitting instantly, and you have 3 or 4 of those hit, you're going to be ready to scale. As long as you're not going out and like spending. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your funds, but it's not necessary to spend 4 $7,500 bonuses all in. You can, but then you might not be able to scale with it. But my point is, we'll scale this, but once we do, now we start also expanding what we can do as far as now we can start helping our local communities more, and then we'll scale it again next year, and then now it's like, whoa, like I have all my needs met, my family's taken care of, my local community, the places that I want to donate to, spend time with, because you have time freedom as well. That's the beautiful thing about UA is nobody is having to put in hours and hours and hours of time. Like the only time involved is, can you share a tool with someone, a video with someone, some excitement with someone, and let them know that this exists. Once I give someone a chance to know that UA exists, I'm at total peace, because I know they're going to be in one of 3 categories. I'm excited now, I'm excited later, or I'm excited never. But all I have like focus on is those that are excited now, because that's all that exists for any of us. So I put all of my attention and energy on those, and they're really obvious when you share a video with someone and like, this is really interesting. Like, how does this work? Questions to me equals I'm excited now, or at least inquisitive. And so then I could, go through the steps, get their questions answered, do what we need to do. And then if they actually decide they want to participate, awesome. If not, they may want to participate tomorrow or next week, next month. But when they do participate, it'll be there in the excited now category. And that's all that I focus on, just giving people a chance. So not going to go into too much more training. Another side note, when this is automated, that it allows me to free up to what I do best, which is like, I love like leading and love creating and love bringing people to, giving people a chance. Like I've given much less people a chance in the last couple of months to see UA, besides the videos that I post on social media. I always will do that. But as far as just being able to interact, like Deanna knows this, before a lot of you guys came in, we used to have a tracker that we used to just call the seed planting tracker. And all it was designed to do was track how many seeds we were planting on a daily basis. How many people did you give a chance to see UA today and this week and this month? And we were just tracking them. We had this huge list of people that were all doing that. We weren't tracking how many of them signed up. That didn't matter, because we don't control that. All we can control is giving people a chance, planting that seed, and then we leave it up again to divine timing as far as when they're going to actually harvest, who's going to harvest, and what that's going to look like. So that's what's going to happen a lot. Last thing, when it comes to automation, the things that we're describing right now, the only way that these things would change is if we had to recreate the whole like automation system. So that's why like there's little cool things that we can do right now that we've been saying, hey, if you see a name in italics, this is another side note for all of you guys. You see a name in italics, like if you do water and you want to unitalicize that name, because the names that you guys will see in italics are the ones furthest away from the payout slot. Like we're purposely doing that. So you still have the ones that are coming closer to being paid. But if you water again before we go into the new system, we will unitalicize the name that is there, and then we'll italicize the one that you just put on the list, just so that you have. So just something like to incentivize people to water. It doesn't really apply to you now if your names aren't in italics. But if you do start seeing that, just know that that is an option we've been giving to people as well. So, okay. I see hands up. This makes the technology super easy. Carrie, I'm going to bring you on because you probably have some things that you want to contribute or that you've seen questions about. If you're there, I'm going to go for it.
Good morning. Okay, I'm just reading some of the questions in the chats, and this is something, Dr. Anna's question, it comes up for a lot for me too. What happens if you're not on a list, like let's say you're not on the 10K list, but you bring someone on and they want to get on the 10K list. They want to know what happens when that scenario happens. So when your person, let's say I'm not on the 10K list, but I bring in my dad that does get on the 10K list. As their name cycles through, when their membership commission hits the payout slot and is supposed to pay me $5,000, that is going to actually now put my name on the 10K list 2 times. Okay, So that's a really awesome thing that we can use in this system, that we don't lose our commissions if we're not on a list, right? So if we can't afford to get on a list like the 10K list, find someone that can and get them on the list, because as their membership commission rolls through, that puts us onto the list. So that's a really common question that I get. I just wanted to address that really quick.
I love it. That's actually a really good. So I'm talking with Jeremy, who's our head of automation today, and the first question that I'm going to address with him, and if he can program this in, which I think that he can, I'm asking him because I've been playing with instead of the 2 names on the list, I've been playing with treat it as if you have a name on the list already, and we pay you the 25% and then put one on for you, because it will. I'm playing with that idea, because that would still be treated as the. My brain's thinking about 2 different things. So the example that I used with him was if somebody got Golden 4 and they weren't on the list yet. So Carrie, we're talking about kind of 2 different things.
That was a question too, so that's good.
So this, because when I started to explain that, I was like, that wouldn't function. How it will work so now I'm going to think about this. So how it will work, and when it's automated, in that example that Carrie just used, when you sign someone up and you're not on the list yet, it's going to, so say, let's just use the big numbers again, because it's automated, and there's just, matter of fact, I'm going to actually address this, because this is actually, I need to address this as well. I'm writing this down, because it could either pay you it won't pay you the full commission unless your lower level memberships are active, because once you receive 50% or higher commissions, like the system is designed, this automation system, and it's supposed to be this way anyways, manually, but it's designed to check the lower list and see if your memberships are active. So if you get a $5,000 membership commission, but your UA 20, 100, and 1,000 memberships aren't paid up, then that would be, instead of $5,000 commission, that would be a $3,800 commission. So you have to settle for $3,800. And then your sponsors get their $560, which they're happy about, and then their sponsor gets their $280, which they're happy about. So it'll still be designed that way. But I'm curious, as far as if you're not on the list, if we program it to where it puts names on there for you, or just does what I just described. It might do what I just described, as far as just pay you the actual commission, and then it'll be up to you to water with some of that. I'm going to ask Jeremy about that. But in the Golden 4 scenario, how would you guys like that to be? Carrie, since you're on here with me, how would you guys, if I asked them, would you want the commission, the full commission, minus the paying for your membership? So the 5,000 minus, just using the big numbers, obviously this applies to every list. Or would you want it to put names on the list? Because even if it puts, what I would want it to do, just speaking out loud again, I would want it to put at least 1 name. See,
That's what I was going to say.
The reason for 2 names on the list is it basically, we know your membership is going to get paid. But even with 1 name on the list, we know your membership will get paid. But if it puts 2 on the list, so if you sign someone up and it puts 2 on the list, then we know your sponsor will get paid. I kind of would like it to be 1 on the list and then 1 pay you. So 2,500, so you get rewarded right away. But then also put a name on the list, which we know eventually your sponsor will get their membership commission, because that name will turn into 2 and will pay yours. So that would be my preference.
And so out of that 2,500, that would pay your lower memberships.
In that case, the 2,500 would probably just come, we have to talk to Jeremy about that, because would that be considered? Yeah, it would, because that would still be considered a 50% payout, because 1 put you on the list and then 1 paid there. So
I think that's a good compromise.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Let me write this down in my notes.
That- A lot of incentive, and it'll give them momentum if they actually have an earnings, and then hey, I just got $2,500 in my pocket, and then it's very smart, very, very smart.
I agree. On the Golden 4 element of that, because we just saw this actually now, like this past Golden 4, someone got Golden 4 on the UA 1000, but they weren't on the list yet. So in that case, treating it how I'd like that one to be, because basically that's the first, treating it, because they're getting a payout, basically treating it like that's the first phase of the cycle. So giving them the 25% and then putting a name on the list. And then when that name comes down, that's your membership payout for the sponsor. So if you're golden 4 and not on the list yet, treating it that way, that was pretty clear cut as far as how that would reward everyone. But then also checking in that case, it wouldn't necessarily check the lower levels because that'd be a 25% payout. So I'll talk with Jeremy about this, but I will always want to put money in the person that does the activities pocket, also wanting to reward their sponsor with the membership payout. So it's always wanting to reward both people for the action. So we'll get it set up that way. That should be easy to do. Awesome. Thank you for bringing that up, Carrie. Donna, I see your hand up. Go for it.
Thank you, Noel. I just want to make a comment from the internet perspective.
Mhm.
I'm so blown away with the brilliance that we've created a system that literally transforms our vibrational relationship with money from one of survival to one of benevolence and reciprocity. And the watering, to me, is like a humble way to merge with the energetics of the cycle of giving and receiving. It inspires people to take accountability to the whole. And it just blows me away. And I just really want to appreciate that because, and if it's a bad day, hop into the platform and just swim in that energy because it's win, 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 win. And the leadership, I mean, Carrie, Lisa, it's mind blowing to me. The grace with which you treat each other. So from the top down, I just really want to speak to the energetics of the heart and what you've created. And thank you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you saying that, Donna. And obviously you have been attracted to that because that's the energy that you're living in. That's my favorite part of the whole community element of UA is the people that, all of us are, the people that we're attracting are those that are ready to be in that vibration, be in that energy. And those that may be ready later, they're not going to resonate right now with the frequency that they'll feel when they're in the groups or when they're participating. And that's okay. Everybody's on their journey. Maybe they'll be ready next week or next month. But it's awesome because it's just beautiful souls from all around the world that are being attracted into what we're doing. And as we head into what we've been talking about here, as things get automated and things just pick up speed, and like you said, Donna, like you're no longer in like survival mode. You're right now at peace because you know that abundance is flowing. Everyone that's ever gotten paid from Universal Abundance, the first thing that they've seen is abundance is flowing. Like we're just affirming that the best book that I've ever read in my life. I read it 6 consecutive times. It's called The Happy Pocket Full of Money. It's just, the first chapter is on quantum physics. The second chapter is on time as an illusion. And then it just builds from there. It's so powerful. And he even prefaces at the beginning, he says, don't try to grasp all this like in your first read, like read it again immediately and then read it again. And then it just starts like, it's so powerful. But throughout the whole book, like just every few paragraphs, he just affirmed, I am wealth, I am abundance, I am joy. I am wealth, I am abundance, just in the middle of the page. So imagine reading a book and then all of a sudden you read, I am wealth, I am abundance, I am joy. And you're just like, you probably read that 1,000 times throughout the book, probably more. So that's why when we started paying out, it's like abundance is flowing. Like you'll affirm that every time that you are paid because it is for all of us. So I appreciate you saying that, Donna. Okay, who else is live here that wants to ask questions? I think we answered with you guys out in South Africa, Namrita, and I think we answered a lot of the questions that came in on the chat when it comes to that. But if anybody has questions, let's see if there's one over here. I think I answered all those. What's that one? On scholarship list, first time, cycle twice. Yeah, we used to answer a lot of the questions were about like cycling twice and all that stuff. Go ahead, Janice.
Hey, so I'm reading the comments on the right, and there is a question about, do we need to be in every list? Do we need to be 20, 100, 1,000? And then optional 10,000. I'm hoping to be on 10,000 soon, but it's going to be a minute. So do we have to be on all the lists? Is there like a rule or is that an expectation?
So the list, the scholarship program is just to support everybody having a fully paid for membership. So it kind of works in reverse. So if you're participating in the scholarship program, then it's automatically going to be set up to check the lower levels and see if your membership is paid up, because that's what the whole scholarship program is designed for. But the reverse isn't the case. So there are people that pay for their membership and access the content, and I don't know why they're not participating in the scholarship program yet, but they're not participating in the scholarship program. That's their option. So not required to participate in any of the scholarship lists. I highly recommend that you do, because you tend to come out ahead financially when you do. But yeah, no, it doesn't, like there's no, and sometimes there's confusion thinking that your scholarship bonus will be used to automatically put you on a higher list. There's no, that's never happened, or that's not built into any of the technology. So, but the reverse is, so the scholarship bonus will pay for your, so for instance, guys, if you get a UA 100 $50 or $75 commission, it will check to see if your UA 20 membership is paid. And if not, then it will pay your UA 20 membership for you. So it'll just check the lower levels when you start getting 50 and 75% commissions.
Okay, I think I get it. Thanks.
You need a follow-up question on that, go for it.
Some of these things just boggle me, and I have to just wait a while, and then it'll like trickle in, and it'll like, oh, okay, I get it. So it's all right. I could just hear it a few times. It's okay.
You meet Monica or Janine, who was working closely with me last week. There's a lot of the stuff that you guys see, really a robot or a computer like needs to do it. But it all makes sense. Like the way my brain works is, and if you're not in the US, it might not be as great of an analogy, but from the US, like we always, as a kid, like you just want, how many quarters does it take to buy this? So it's like 4 quarters makes $1. So all the UA compensation is like $1 comes in where the quarters go, and then the quarters go to, is all that it is. When I was in Mexico, the money, the currency is different, peso. So that analogy was like, that doesn't, so I had to create something new. But for those of us that 4 quarters is $1, it's just, where's the quarter going to go? Like that's the simplicity of what we're doing.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Michelle, come on.
Hey.
Hello.
So Lucy asked, and I've had this question a lot as well, does the Golden 4 count as one of your 2 names? When you say you got 2 names that go through, when you get paid out Golden 4, will those 2 names count as one of those? How will that work?
So the Golden, that's a really good question, actually. That
Yeah.
because the way that it works now, and that even in the new, so when you hit Golden 4 and when it's automated, it'll immediately put you in Golden 4 instead of just being on Sunday. By the way, you guys haven't heard this. This is also going to supercharge things as far as incentive to want to get Golden 4, but it's like immediate. So you get Golden 4 at 10 p.m. on Wednesday night. Immediately you go into the next payout slot for the next transactions that come in to pay you. So it's like immediate, like Golden 4 instead of once a week. That's going to really supercharge things as well. But that isn't a name, like all your names are still positioned on the list in the same place. So the way it's set up right now, and I even talked to Jeremy about this because it might need to stay this way. I don't want it to stay this way. The way it's set up now is it would just give you a payout and then nothing else would change on the list, almost just like an additional just reward. So it wouldn't be like one of your names coming through. I have to ask him about that. I'm going to write that down because I'm curious because we haven't discussed like moving a name into the slot. It's just putting you into like a brand new slot. It's like Golden 4 slot. So I'm going to ask him about that. Thank you for bringing that up.
And then they're also asking, do you have, let's say you get Golden 4, you bring someone in on the 1,000, you get Golden 4 and you're not on the 1,000. You still get paid out on that, right? You don't have to be on that list to get a payout. Yes. To get Golden 4, I mean.
So the way that it will likely be, the way that I want it to be, as long as we can do it programming wise, is if you get Golden 4 and you're not on the list, it pay you 25% and then put a name on the list for you. That's the way that we want it to function. Because then that will reward you. You get some cash, and then also you get on the list so that your sponsor can. And that would be your first part. That 25% would be treated as if the first part of your cycle. So that name that comes on the list, when that comes down, that would pay your sponsor the 50% and their sponsor the 25%. That's how we want it to be.
Okay.
I'm actually starting to treat that like right now. Actually, this just happened. So I just paid out, their name is escaping me, but we just paid out someone 25% and added a name on the list yesterday. I can't think of the name. It was on the UA 1000 list for a Golden 4 that happened on the 12th. I think this beautiful soul was in Australia, but I can't think of their name right now. But that's, in my mind, I'm already like looking at it as that's how it's going to be.
Thank you. I'm just kind of reading through to see if I see anything else that hasn't been answered, but thank you.
Thank you. That's not as common of an example, but I think it's going to be really common once everything is like instant, because you have an incentive to do it. Another thing that's going to be more common, that's going to supercharge things as far as abundance flowing to you as well. Right now, it's most common for people, because when I introduce people to UA, I always suggest to them to get the highest scholarship that they can get, they can do, and also the highest membership that they can do. But if they can only do one, I have them get the scholarship, and the highest one that they can do. But for those that can do, because I saw this really common with a few pockets in UA where those that could, they would do the 20, 100, and the 1,000 scholarship, so the 280, and then they'd also do the 20 and the 100 membership. So they'd pay 400 total US. What that would do is immediately pay that person that signed that person up the $60 membership commission. Now, it's not immediate right now, but it will be immediate when we're automated. So I see people getting into the flow of getting their memberships taken care of, so that they have membership commissions coming in as well. So that just will be instant abundance that flows. So we'll talk more about that. I'll be really active when it comes to leading and how to sign people up, what to say, what to show. Like that's what I'm done for over a decade. But I don't really do any of that right now because I'm in the admin seat, which is not my level of joy, but it's necessary. And I'm excited because I've been affirming for months that I'm so happy and grateful now that UA is fully automated, and I get like chills through my body the whole time that I do that. Highly recommend that you have I am so happy and grateful now affirmations and just feel it and let it like ripple through your body like that. You'll see movement towards all of those things. Okay, I see hands up. Tresha, I saw your hand up first, and then we'll come back to Donna and Carrie.
Hey, well, I just wanted to tell everybody how wonderful you were, because I have had multiple questions and have sent you so many messages on Telegram, and you always respond. And I know you are extremely busy, and on my waxing and waning, you're probably really tired of. So I do appreciate you a lot for that.
I also always read it. I appreciate you.
I'll stop. When I first enrolled, I did the 20 and the 100 UA memberships, and then I backed that out, and I want to put them back in again. I did send an email to support, but I never heard back, and I don't know if I got back on those. Do I just go back in and re-enroll in the 20 and UA for the monthly memberships for those levels? Do you have my question?
Yeah, with the memberships, for any of you guys that want to have it automatic, which makes accounting really easy because you're always get 75% for those. Whenever we see someone has their membership done, like it's like such a quick payout as far as, because it's just, there's no other looking as far as the days left on the membership and all that. So yeah, anybody can do that just through either your sponsor's affiliate link. Not really necessary because you're already linked to them. You can go straight to universalabundance.co and do it there. Or if you guys are paying with cryptocurrency, you can just send that to Incognito, and in the memo just say this is for the specific membership that it's for.
And can I talk about Incognito for 1 minute? So I've been really scared of it, and everybody knows that. And we're working past this. You guys are great for me. So so my question is, can I get just like a little tiny, like one of my 250s paid into Incognito and be able to play with it a little bit? Do I just send an email to support?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thanks.
one thing I will address, thank you, Tresha, just this is kind of a separate topic, but is regarding incognito. I've only seen this happen a few times, but just FYI, if anybody is sending cryptocurrency in for watering and it's outside of incognito right now, so it's in some exchange or wallet, you can send that directly to the USDC wallet and really double and triple and quadruple check that. And this has only happened twice. Renee is on her, she already knows what I'm saying. But it's only happened twice. But we figured it out with Renee. It took a lot of time. It was good for us to know. But it's happened again, which we're doing some other things to remedy this because it's just not worth the hours that it would take to do it. But just make sure that it's, because I don't know why they had to make it this confusing, but there's USDC in 2 different networks. So imagine like the same title of channel, but you're watching, ESPN, and you're watching the, ABC, that's owned by the same people. I don't know why I use that analogy, but regardless, say you're watching 2 different networks, but the channel is called the same thing. It'd be really easy to say, oh, I'm watching this channel, but you're actually on the wrong network. So that's how it is with USDC coin. The default is the one that we use on most everything, which is ERC20 network. That's the one that you want. But then there's another one that, BEP20, which is Binance. They have their own network. This is probably not anything that most need to know. But just like before you hit the send and send any money, just make sure that, especially if it's your first time, make sure that your sponsor, their sponsor, someone that's done it, like says, okay, hit the send button. Otherwise, your money could be like floating out in the ethers and they do not make it easy to get it back. So, but yeah, my point with that was though, if your money is outside of incognito, you don't even need to deal with incognito as far as watering goes. You can just send it directly to the USDC wallet that's also outside of incognito. So you kind of communicate with each other. If your money is inside of incognito, just simply send it to the UA incognito wallet so that you're communicating inside of there. That just limits the fees. We had someone, and they didn't know, they just didn't have that clarity, but sent it from outside of incognito to inside of incognito, and then sent it from inside of incognito back to the UA wallet outside of incognito, which all the fee companies are just like, thank you, just take our piece of that. So it ended up being much more expensive than it needed to be. So just when we're helping people, just FYI with that. All right. Who's next, Donna or Carrie? Rock, paper, scissors for, rock, paper. So anytime when Monica are working in the same place and there's something like on the other side of the place that one of us needs, like we do a rock, paper, scissors to see who has to go get it. Now I've learned to read Monica's mind, which she doesn't really enjoy because I won like the last 5 or 6 games. And I tell her right before, like, I already know what you're going to put. And I'm like manifesting what she's going to put on. So I'm not really the person that you want to play rock, paper, scissors with, because I will, like, who wants to play with me right now on screen? I'll show you.
Sounds like a challenge to me, Noel. Donna, go ahead.
Deanna's there. So
Gary, I appreciate that. It's just a quick clarification around, again, the Golden 4. So I was introduced to the company and I'm at the 10K scholarships to all 4. And I introduced someone else who came at that same with all 4. And because of the wonderful promotion, I was gifted a position. And then I gave that to someone who is really blessed by this. Now I had her make a decision to give the bottom 3 levels so that she was really blessed in her commitment to the process, I guess. So now she's 10K membership, all 4 levels. Does that count towards the Golden 4? Because I gifted her the one that I got through the promotion.
Good question. So I'm gonna switch the language up just a little bit, just so that it doesn't seem so gracious. It's a fronted spot, so that 25 when she gets the payout slot, that's going to come back to the company. But she'll have another time through with that name, so that time through is for sure a gift. So. But just the initial is going to be the frontage, because I don't want people to think like that they're waiting for like the additional cash, especially those that have like a second slot on there as a result. Like 5,000 will be triggered, but only 2,500 of that will go to you, and then the other 2,500 will go back to the company. As far as the fronted spots contributing to Golden 4, I've been giving a lot of thought to this, and the answer has been, for instance, the bonus, the spots that had the money bags next to them in July, like those doesn't count for Golden 4. So right, we haven't ever said that the fronted spots were going to count. I have to figure that out with the programmer. If they ask me that again, I need to have some strategy talk with people to see overall what we want, because ultimately Golden 4 is, you know, the people that are contributing to that payout is the whole, like as far as the transactions. So for me, it doesn't matter to me one way or the other. I'm more interested in what everybody like wants to be the case when it comes to that, and I'm okay with either. So we'll give some thought to that, because I was just thinking about this last night. Like I started to put, and I might have done it on one, a little asterisk next to someone on the 10K list, just to indicate that that is a fronted spot. Especially, here's what makes it challenging. Donna, you might be the person that I was thinking about, because on the update, this goes here. Because you signed someone up under you, and this is an awesome promotion. It's really smart to do this, because either way, it's going to trigger a $5,000 membership commission for you. So it's really, really smart to do this with your fronted spots. That's actually the encouragement to do this. But because like you sign someone up and then that counts as Golden 4, but then you got the fronted spot and then you put it on someone else. So basically that would be like 2 Golden 4 spots with 1 sign up. Mm-hmm. That might be the thing that the whole group is like, it just depends on what that's the fuzzy area for me, is do we want, 2 spots to be considered Golden 4? Maybe that could be the answer right there, is just far as regardless of the sign up, like, cause you could choose to give that fronted spot to someone that is directly under you or someone else. So maybe I think the answer probably would be, the fairest answer would be for 1 sign up equaling 1 Golden 4 spot. So you can kind of choose which one for you. And if you put, if you give your fronted spot to someone else who's directly under you, awesome. I think that's an awesome strategy, because it's going to trigger the 5,000 membership. But probably just to be fair to everybody else, that still only being 1 Golden 4 spot is how my mind is telling it to me now. But I'm open to.
I'm not a chapter wanted the clarity because I don't know.
I was just thinking about that last night. So no, it's just very relevant. So yeah, for now, I'm thinking that 1 sign up will equal 1 Golden 4 spot, just to be fair to everybody that did that when it wasn't fronted spots. That's probably how it will be, unless people say, let's let all the spots be Golden 4 spots, then we'll do that too.
So Noelle, since I gave her that spot, is that a permanent membership for her and that she's in the lower levels, or is it just cycle through 1 or 2 times?
So that spot will come back through. So it'll initially come through and it will pay back the fronted spot. And then the second one, it's actually a really good question. Thinking this out loud, because the second one would come through and pay for her member. Oh no, my brain didn't. Okay, this is why. The first time will come through and then put a second name on the list. I missed that phase. This is where her profits come. I was like, wait, where's her profits? The first one comes through, pays back the company, puts a second name on the list for her. Now she has 2 names coming down. The second one will pay you your $5,000 commission and your sponsor their $2,500. And then that other name is right behind it, which is going to pay her $7,500. You just basically gifted her $7,500, which she'd be wise from that to water with some of that, so that because the other name is the first name that came down to pay your membership, that name is going to come off. So she'll have that one name that will pay her the $7,500 coming around again. So if she doesn't water within that $7,500, that her name could come off the next time around. She
doesn't have to sign up at another scholarship at that level. She can just continually water at that level to stay in the flow.
Yeah. The $7,500 will pay her lower level memberships. So it would be, if she didn't have those paid for, it would pay her $20,000, $100,000, and $1,000. So it'd be $7,500 minus the $1,120. Quick math check for me, that would be $63.80. I think that's right. I might be wrong, but yeah. So that's what she would. That's totally wrong. No, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what she would receive, and then she'd water with some of that if she chose to, but she wouldn't be required to water with any of it, but it'd be smart.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Helps a lot.
You're welcome. awesome for doing that too. That's wise for anybody. Anyone that has like extra money on hold right now, 2,500s, like think about who's like actually would appreciate and actually take advantage and actually utilize the spot. I'm not a huge fan of just, giving the spot to anyone that's breathing, because they likely wouldn't water with it and eventually will fall off. So it kind of wouldn't do the long term what it could if you actually use that spot for someone that wanted to participate. But definitely think about that, because it's very profitable for you and for them. Awesome. Okay, Carrie, you were next, and then Amanda.
Okay, so I just wanted to piggyback on something you recently talked about, which is paying the memberships. So is the easiest way, if we want to pay through Incognito for our memberships, to send a message to support and say, I would like to pay my 20, 100, and 1,000 memberships on this date, like August 1st. And then we're responsible on that date to send that payment from Incognito to UA. Like if we don't want to use a credit card or PayPal, can we do it that way with Incognito?
Yeah, because you're still, we still would want everyone to send in, especially as we close the gap on the time that transaction happens, the membership transaction, and the actual payout for the membership. Because that's when we pay out the membership commissions is when your membership date changes in the system. It already was the day that you actually made the transaction is the actual date of your membership. But as far as the day that we see it change in the system is when we're paying out the sponsors and all of that. So it actually is helpful to send the email, even though you can put in the memo of Incognito, to say, hey, just sent in my membership commission for, because that way when we go to pay you the next time and we can search for your name and then we see, oh, Carrie just made a membership commission. So even if you say August 1st, we're still going to kind of go with the last email that we saw from you. As far as just made the membership payment. With automation, it's going to be a little bit easier for people if they want to, kind of set that up. But yeah, for now, that's the easiest way, just to email as well. Even though you have the memo, the email is helpful.
Okay, so would we just go ahead and send in that money from Incognito, and then you would apply it when it's due? And then that is when we would know that all of those memberships are in alignment to be paid every month on that date?
Well, yeah, if you send it in, like for instance, if your membership was coming due today, July 24th, and you had already sent the money in a couple of days ago, then your membership date would be, July 24th until August 24th. So you can send it in whenever, and if you send it in before the due date, then that will be the due date. If you send it in after the due date, what we've been doing is having that day be the new membership date, unless your 50% or 75% commissions pay for the lower level, then it will happen on time.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Amanda, hello.
Hey, so I know I'm just kind of like saying it over again, but I figure clarity is everything. So I just want to go through the slots that are given away. I was gifted a slot on 10K. I'm very, very grateful. But I now kind of just in the dark on how it like functions. So the first cycling or the first flow, 25% rewaters to enter that slot. 25% is able to be watered.
I'll tell you.
So you get two. I know I screwed it up, but
no, you're good. We all have different language that we're using.
Yeah.
So when you hit the payout slot for the first time,
okay.
I'm going to put a second name on the list for you. That 2,500 that is triggered for the fronted spot will come back to the company, and then you'll have two names coming down. The first one that hits is going to pay your sponsor their 50% and their sponsor the 25%, and then the one that comes right after that is going to pay 75% to you.
Okay.
So 7,500 minus if your lower level memberships aren't paid yet.
Right. And then if I do end up watering with that first 2,500, and that gives me 3 spots.
You won't
Is
have
that what you were?
because that's if your spot's fronted. I can't see it in my system right now, but if it's
Yeah, yeah.
fronted, that means that 2,500 is going to come back to the company.
Right.
So you're going to have 2 spots, but a third spot would need to be 2,500 that you put there.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Makes a lot more sense. Thanks.
Water with some of the 7,500 for sure.
Oh, I'm definitely doing that. That's a big plan for me. This is a life-changing experience. I'm so grateful for everything, honestly. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate it.
You're awesome, Amanda. I appreciate you. All right. Anybody? I'm going to wrap this up here in a second. Lucy, go for it.
Hey, everybody. Quick question. So a few months back, there was a promotion contest, whatever, to get a 1K bonus, which was going to be paid out as an additional $250 for each person as they flowed through for their membership. But automation will likely be in place by the time that those people now come through for their membership, because shortly after that contest ran, UA evolved to where their first time around would pay them the 25% and put their name on for the second time. So they have just flown through sorry, I'm like so scatterbrained today. They just recently flowed through for their first time, which paid them instead of me. So it'll probably take another 2 months approximately for them to flow for membership and that extra $250 that I'm supposed to get. But if automation is in place, how will that work?
Message me separately on that, Lucy, because I want to look into what you're saying, because if the money is supposed to flow differently, because that was the May, that was the May contest. So if there's money still out there for you on that, we'll figure that out together. Message me specifics on that on Telegram, and we'll figure that out. You may be the only example of that still in existence. You're the last dinosaur when it comes to that contest. So.
Oh man, okay.
We'll figure it out.
All right, thanks.
All right, Michelle.
Yeah, so with the automation in place, so for those of us who, like, for example, I signed my mother up and I paid for all her stuff, and her first payments are supposed to come back to me, to pay me back, I guess. So once the automation starts, is that still going to be possible? Like, is the system going to know all of that stuff? Like, how is that going to work? Or would the payment just automatically go to her, which is okay too?
No, it will come. Literally, it's built in to where when you water, you'll be able to mark. You'll be able to mark it as a fronted spot for someone. If it's the caveat is if they've already been coming. So say you're running a contest for your group, and anybody could win the contest, and the person that wins the contest has already started coming through the payout slot at that level that the contest is for. So if you front someone a slot that is someone that's already started being paid out, then there's a chance that fronted money may not make it back to you, because the only time that fronted money can come back to you, I'll just say when fronted money can't come back to you is if they land in a payout slot and it's a membership upgrade, because that's going to the sponsor and the other sponsor. But if you front money to someone and it lands on the first part of the cycle, just as if it came down, like them coming down for the first time, then that fronted money will come back to you. It'll also come back to you if you say you did run a contest for someone and it came down on that third phase of the cycle, like that first part of the 25% would come back to you as well. So basically, if you front someone and they're already being in the process of being paid out, then if they happen to come around twice and both times land on the membership upgrade part, so you have a 33% chance that that's going to happen, times 2, then the fronted money wouldn't come back. But if you're ever fronting people and they haven't come through yet, then that will always come back to you. So you'll have the option for that whenever you water. Everybody will.
Okay, because I mean, it was a while back that I,
Yeah,
paid for that. So I was like, is that gonna come? Is that gonna be still in the new stuff?
yeah.
So confusing.
Everyone that sponsored is good. Highly encouraged, just for anybody on here live or seeing this, if you have people that you've fronted and you want that initial payment to come back to you and you don't think that you specify that with support, because we'll need to know that. If there was never been any specification, it'll just go into the new system as a normal spot. But most of you guys have clarified.
Yeah, it was specified at the beginning, so that makes sense. Okay.
I remember those will come back to you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. Well, this has been really, really good. We're gonna stop the recording on this because we've gone almost an hour and a half, and I don't want it to be super, super, super long. But I'm really excited, guys. Like, yeah, every time you ever hear me speak, and I kind of did this earlier, but I always keep the focus on how much value we can create together, like how much impact we can make on each other. And that's the whole point of this retreat coming up that starts tomorrow. Like, I'm so excited to meet everybody that's here and to enjoy, obviously. Like, I love, this human connection, and just interacting with people in person is awesome. And I'm greatly looking forward to having all of you guys that aren't here in Costa Rica right now with us on the next one, which we'll talk about, and all of the future ones. All the beautiful places that you've seen around the world, whether it be like those bungalows that you see floating in the middle of the ocean in Fiji or the Maldives, or we're going to have events at all these places. Like, that's the beautiful thing when your intention, as far as creating value, is how much value we can create. How can we contribute? What can you share that would uplift even one person? Always keeping your mind on that. And all of us have life experiences that would fit into that category of, wow, if I shared this and it impacted one person, you've just made everything that we are creating more valuable, which is what's allowing us to scale this up and up and up, which is what's going to allow us to make the impact on our personal lives, family, local community, and humanity. So at this retreat, when you come together in person, it might not even be a specific workshop that we're doing that, all the workshops will be recorded and in the portal. That might not be your aha moment. All I'm going to share with people at the beginning, like as far as what I'm sharing, is to set an intention that you'll have one thing that will be so impactful on you that it'll make a significant difference in your life, in an area of life that matters to you, whatever that might be. It could be any area of life. If you set that intention and just are open to receiving whatever that is, you'll likely have multiple things. Like, every event that I've ever been to, I've been to a lot of events for different companies, different businesses, and I always set that intention. I write it on the paper. Like, I'm excited. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've grasped one thing that has dramatically impacted my life, and whatever that is, and that thing will come. So imagine a group of people doing that together, and everybody's having these light bulb moments, these aha moments. Like, you would consider any light bulb moment that you have that impacts your life in a major way to be priceless to you. If it happens in an area of life that matters to you, like, that's priceless. So now we're giving priceless value in person as well, and at all these beautiful places around the world. Guys, we could scale UA as far as the memberships go as high as we want to scale it. And I'm not going to go into because our automator Jeremy asked me, how high are you guys going to scale this? We're going to scale it because we can. And there's events that happen all around the world that it will cost you multiple 6 figures to attend, or 7 figures to attend, depending on the value that they're giving. So obviously we're going to scale it incrementally. But those of you guys that are here right now, if you're participating at the $100 level, the UA 100, you're going to be able to scale to the 1,000 soon. And if you're participating at the 1,000 level, you're going to be able to scale to the 10,000 soon, even just using the commissions that are coming in. And if you start introducing people and getting membership commissions, now that will happen even faster. So you'll be able to scale at every level when you're ready. But it only takes so many zeros onto your accounts, your digital wallets that you're using right now, whether it be bank account or a cryptocurrency wallet. Only takes so many zeros added to what's there now to completely take care of your family, to take care of your local community, and then to be able to shift your attention to what parts of humanity do I really want to see evolve. Like, for me, when I see people, like where I'm from in Northern California, in the Bay Area, homelessness is worse there now than I've ever seen it. all different ages, men, women, like all, it's people living in tents, like under all the bridges, on all the overpasses. It's everywhere. So in my mind, I think, how many zeros would it take in a cryptocurrency wallet to buy enough properties to where not only can people have shelter, but what do we think is going to be happening inside of these properties? Like, we're going to be raising consciousness in these properties so that we can know, okay, this is how I can go out there and create. Because it's just just reminding ourselves of who we truly are. Like, that's all that, to me, consciousness is. It's just from one moment not remembering who I truly am to, oh, now I remember what I knew when I was an unconditionally loving little baby when I first arrived here into the physical. Like, I knew these things. I was just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and just open in the present moment for whatever life had to bring. We forget that as we get older. So we just need to remember, and then we can go out there and we can create and we can manifest. So that's all part of what we're doing. And what we're doing right now as far as the retreat is another step of that to create more value, which will be ongoing in the portal, but the personal value that we get. So I'm just excited for the whole journey with you guys. And our intention is always going to be, let's create more value, more value. What can we do to make this even more valuable? And then we'll keep scaling on the financial side, and all of you guys are good. Spoiler alert, all of you guys are good. like if you're in UA right now and you resonate with the energy of what we're doing, like your personal freedoms, your family, like taken care of, like this year, taken care of. So I'm excited for all the evolution. All right, I'm gonna look at a couple more. I see you guys, a couple people talking to me in the comments specifically. Oh, awesome. You guys are in the Bay Area? Donna, I didn't know that. Very cool. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, no, we're making an impact on poverty all over the world. Like, that's, for me, that I know, because once you know who you truly are, and you know that all of us are just powerful expressions of the divine here in physical form, once we understand that, we don't look at anybody as different than us or better or worse. Like, we just look at this person as another expression of who I am as well. So I'm excited when the light bulb comes back on and you remember that for yourself. Because now, once you know the process of how to go from where you are right now to whatever it is that you want to manifest, once you understand the process of that, life just becomes this like fun adventure movie. You're the star, and we bring all these other co-stars into us, and we attract them all to us in places like UA and everything that we're doing. So it's just a fun journey. I enjoy all of it. Why do I do everything that I do when it comes to UA? Not because I feel obligated, not because I feel like it's a mandate, because it just sounds really fun to live in a world where poverty doesn't exist, animals are good, kids are good, the environment, that just sounds like a blast. When you know that you can create it, why wouldn't you see how much you can get done in the time that you're here? And that's how I flow. But I'm not attached to when or how or the details of it. Those are released, because we get attached to those, then that leaves us, what's the opposite of peace? Like turmoil, whatever the opposite of peace is, that's what it is when we're trying to figure all that out. So I like to stay in a nice peaceful zone and allow momentum to carry us up to joy, excitement, bliss, and all the energies that are like, wow, this feels like amazing. But my baseline is a nice peace. I'm human too, so I slip down below peace and maybe get a little anxious or frustrated just like everyone else. But I notice it immediately, because when your baseline and what you've been practicing for years is peace, you're not going to be like oblivious to like, I'm feeling a little bit frustrated right now. Like, you're going to feel that in the body. And so then you can allow yourself to return back to peace, just release. That's the easiest way to get back to peace, is release whatever is causing the unpeace. Let it go and you be at peace. So, all right, well, that is all I have. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, and I'll put this in the groups. Thank you guys for tuning in live, and for your questions. Those of you guys that are live, it's fun to interact with you guys, and really excited for those of you that are here that I get to give a big hug to in Costa Rica. And then for those of you guys that aren't here, you guys will be at the next one or one of the upcoming ones somewhere beautiful in the world, and we'll enjoy life together and all these beautiful things. So
don't forget your
photo.
I got so many other humans that had to pop off at the beginning. Okay, whoever's left, you guys are meant to be in the thumbnail. Anybody that's willing to come on camera for the family photo? Want to be in the family photo?
Yeah.
Thank you to Monica. You guys will meet Monica here in Costa Rica soon.
Nice to meet you.
For the list from the time before, so Monica's been working with me for a month now, a little bit over a month, and the lists are updated so much faster now.
Mommy.
The only list that's slower right now is the 10K list, because that's my responsibility. So all the other lists that are moving quickly, that's because of her. So we're going to update the 10K list here in a little bit. But I appreciate you guys. Let's take a picture. I'm going to put the I love you in sign language, which I always put. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Appreciate you all. Have a beautiful Saturday. And
Noel,
yes.
if you, this is totally off subject, but if you could get into the Costa Rica chat, there's some things we need clarified, please.
Just kidding.
Yeah, lots of people we have some confusion and we just kind of need to know what's up. But anyway, just wanted to say that.
Can we
Thank
please redo
you.
that photo? I was just like totally not looking. Can you please?
I took like 9 of them. You're looking at one of them. Okay, here we go.
Well, I was looking like some kind of retarded look.
Like your daughter was saying all of them, so we're gonna use the one that she looks that she's most happy with.
Okay, that works. That works for me. Sorry,
Awesome.
thank you so much.
Talk to all you guys soon. Thank you for tuning in, and this was super helpful. I know that this will be useful for everybody. So we'll get this here, and we'll put this in the portal as well under the training section at the top. So that will be there. But I'll talk to everybody soon. Have a beautiful, beautiful Saturday.
Have a
Thank
fun
you.
time. We'll be there